What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Pat, the Chinese drama addict, and I am back with another review. This review is going to be on the story of Yanxi Palace. Uh, this story is one of the best stories that I've ever seen acted out on television, and it's also based on a true figure that was in Beijing. And I think in the 17th, during the 1700s or something like that. In that area of Beijing, China. The main reason why I ended up taking a trip to China to see the Forbidden City. And it takes place in the Forbidden City in Beijing. The story of the Palace of Yanxi can be seen on Viki.com. This is not a story that's on Netflix yet, even though I do believe at some point Netflix will put this on its new shows to be aired on there, because it's a must for it to be on there. So Netflix, if you're listening, put the story of Yanxi Palace on Netflix, and it's amazing. It's 10 stars. It's so much drama. It's so much everything, honey. That show will put you in a whole nother mind frame of wanting to hurt somebody. Of the depths and levels that some women will go to are unbelievable on here, and just the level of friendship between women on here would happen. The main character in this story is her name is, if I'm not mistaken, I love her in a lot of stuff that she has done, is Wu Jin Yin, if I'm not mistaken, and the Emperor is played by a Ni Wan, and they are excellent together. This story basically is about a young girl who lost her sister. Her sister worked at the Forbidden City as a maid. Something happened weird with her that she got murdered, and she can see that this girl, her sister, was strangled, and she just basically said, I am going to go and find out who killed my sister, which any sister probably would do if you love your sister, and she can't, and things just weren't added up around her death. So she goes and she gets a position inside of the Forbidden City as a embroidery maid. When it first kicks off, the first episode kicks off with these girls who are lining up to be the new concubines of the emperor, to be chose by, I guess, some of the head consorts in the palace. They are very honest, should I say the least, about if you're fat, they're going to tell you. You look like you ate a whole lot before you got here. Are we going to have any food when you live here or whatever? Drag you out, say, nope, you're not making a cut. And they're finding new women for their king. This is just how the setup is that the women that are already there make the choices of who's going to be the new girls to come in. And it is interesting. If you try to stand out, there's a possibility you get drug out, beat, killed, all of that. I'm like, I would want to be one of the girls who are in that line to try to get inside the king, inside the emperor's bed at some point. This whole entire setup in the palace is basically women who are coming from different families that actually, I guess it rises the status of your family if you are one of the part of the harem inside of the emperor's palace. Too dangerous for me as far as I'm concerned. I couldn't do it. But as you go on into the story, basically this particular character, I think her name is Wei Ying Long or something like that. Anyway, she's the maid, and I'm gonna for not murdering anybody's names in this. She is the maid that's in this, and she basically works her way up in the hierarchy of the palace, all the way up to being a consort and practically a acting empress. And through that rise, there's a lot of shit this girl goes through. But she is smart, she is crafty, she is very clever. And she is like, missing them bullets that these other girls, these other consorts and concubines and maids are literally setting up these traps. She is like hopping over them and saying, you know what, you want to try again. You know what I'm saying? Try it again, girl. Try it again. Because this girl is not only smart mouth, but she is very clever, and she's beating a lot of the baddest, cleverest consorts that's inside this harem at their own game. And you see that for certain ones that are quiet and hang back, these women that are quiet and hang back and let the more, boisterous ones go after her, they sit back and they learn how they're going to make their move to whatever ambitions that they may have inside of this palace. They got a lot of great characters inside of this, a lot of amazing characters. The friendships with the empress that's in this empress, she's a sweet, very sweet woman. She understands that she has to share her man, and she understands her job. Her job is to run the inner workings of the palace, and he runs the country. That's how that works. And they're going to be consorts. She's going to have to share him, and he's going to have children with other women, and this is a known thing, and she's over it. She's like, okay, this is part of my job. This is a part of being the empress. It is what it is. But like all men who have multiple women, and the reason why they have multiple women, you find out why. There are some he can actually have a conversation with. There are some that are fun. There are some that take him out of the seriousness of his day, and he can relax with them. So that you can see why there is a variety of women here to keep him, entertained and pleased and calm or whatever. This particular emperor, he got on my nerves, I say, in the first 9 episodes. He was too much of an asshole for me, and I wouldn't have liked him for jump. However, the maid that comes in, she is not there for him at all. She's just there trying to find out what happened to her sister. And that's her main focus. And usually when you go into something and this is your main focus, somehow as you keep going, those things lose focus after a while. And you get to make friends, you get to start bonds and things like that. You find your enemies, the people who you have to be leery of and things like that. And then your open enemies that are coming right out at you trying to do shit. This girl goes through being very good at whatever she does. It's from embroidery, she's the best. And she's got people inside this group of maids that are trying from day one. They hating. From day one, they're hating. And it's like, oh my God. So, and they doing all kind of crazy shit. And this girl is too smart. She doesn't fall for any of the traps. And she gets out of them one by one. I like the flow of the story of Yanxi because through each episode, she kind of gets over. You see her, get past each challenge, and it keeps you engaged. It doesn't keep you like, oh God, I gotta wait till the other episode to see exactly how long this is gonna drag on, or this particular challenge. Every episode, she's completing the challenge, and you seeing her rise. So I love that part about the Palace in Yanxi. Now the villains, baby, these villains make you want to hurt somebody. It's one particular character, and anybody who's seen the Palace in Yanxi will agree with me. This woman takes your breath away, and not in a good way. I mean, it's like, as soon as you see her in the stage, it's like, oh my God, this bitch. What she got? Because this woman is so evil. There's no buffers on this woman. She's terrible. As terrible as any woman could get, this woman is terrible. She's trying to hurt the Empress, which is a sweet woman who is trying very hard to have children. She's lost babies left and right. And they come at her so hard. And this maid has now made it to be the maid underneath the Empress. And the Empress likes her. And she's basically covering for and she's basically got the back of the Empress, and these girls are coming for this Empress left and right. And this is a sweet woman, and the Emperor really loves his Empress. He really does. He likes all his women, but he loves this particular woman. And when this particular girl is not there, they come for this woman. She loses her babies. It's just so sad and just so terrible. But never fear. That particular maid baby comes back and she hands everybody. Everybody gets handed. It's a little bit of revenge served up cold. These other maids that are part of this, they mouths is a bit much for me. a bit much for my liking, but you see later on as they develop, they get to be friends, they get to understand each other, and they become allies in this fight inside of this in this palace. And honey, the fight is fierce. And when my girl ends up getting noticed by the emperor, because it took the empress to basically say to the emperor, maybe the reason why you don't like this girl is because you want her for himself. And I'm like, it is nothing like a woman who knows her man. Okay? You have to be careful on how much you dislike a person, because you might dislike them, and the reason why you dislike them is because you like them actually underneath. Subconsciously, you're actually liking them. You have a crush on them and you don't know what to do with those types of feelings. And this show dealt with that. This show dealt with betrayals, people who sit back in a cut waiting on your ass to do something, people who are out and out openly just fucked up. Okay, they don't like you and they are trying to do everything to eliminate you. Women who actually sit up here and say, you know what, I'm not trying to have no kids right now. Right now, I'm not here for all of that right now, because I see what happens to these Raws when they have children. They'll murder somebody just to push their child to get favored with the king, so he would end up, looking at their kid and giving her kid a little bit more, favor than other people's children. And then you see how these women will take somebody else's child and be a mama to that child. And when they get caught up in these schemes, how you gonna get killed? This man has the ability to kill you if you get caught up in some bullshit. This entire show, I have to say, had drama from beginning to the end. I loved the ending. I loved everything in between. It had, storylines of people falling in love with each other, falling out of love, friends get mad because this person don't like them, and they just take revenge to a whole nother level. A man telling you I don't want to be with you, and you just gonna strong arm this motherfucker. I ain't never seen no shit like this. But it must happen often in a lot of relationships, because some of these girls just took things too far. And then some people were just downright evil. And that's just who they were. And some people hid the monsters that they were till much later in the story, which was really sad to me. And it's like, this is not going to have a good ending for you. And then the other parts of the story is that when you harp on somebody and you want what they got, and then you get it, you marry someone because you feel like, I love this person, I like this person first, and this person likes somebody else. But you pretty much force a person into a marriage, and then you get married, and then you think this man is going to be everything that you thought he was going to be to you when his heart belongs to somebody else. You fucked up. You got it mixed up. You can go ahead and go through all the conniving and everything you want to do, and you still end up with somebody who doesn't want to be with you, even though you got the ring. You just wasted your time, and you're going to have a miserable marriage. So it showed those types of situations happening and dynamics. This story, like I said, I give it a 10 across the board. Drama, intrigue. I cried on a lot of parts because it just had so much to do with just women in general, of how women deal with each other. And crazy ass relationships with people who you want to be just friends with, and they just take shit to another level. And because you just want to be friends, they turn into your worst damn enemy. And I'm talking about relationships with men and women, where you could let this man likes you and wants you to be his wife and wants you to be his everything, and then all of a sudden love turns into hate, and then hate turns into some sadistic psychopathic shit that you don't even know how the hell you got into, and how a lot of girls end up getting killed that way. So there's a lot of life lessons in this story, a lot of lessons for relationships in this story. Like I said, if I was you, if I was anybody, I would definitely sit down and watch this story. It inspired me to go all the way to China just to understand their culture and everything else. And I have to say, this was one of the great dramas that are out right now. And like I said, you can't see it on Netflix yet. Netflix has not added it to it, but I'm hoping that they do, because people need to see a story of Yanxi Palace. And that's my review for today. I'm trying to crank out a couple of videos to keep everybody a little bit more intrigued about some of the stuff that I watch. And like I said, leave some comments below to let me know whether or not if you had some interesting parts inside of the story of Yanxi that you would like to talk about, and that you saw different dynamics that were forming in some of the characters, and whether or not you liked it or not. I actually loved the story. I think it was a great story, and I'm probably going to watch it again. I'm not as much as I watched Eternal Love, but I'm going to watch it again. But it took a minute for it to get started. But once it got started, I absolutely love the show. So it has a lot of, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 70 episodes. There's a lot of episodes, honey. But every episode is worth watching. So until next time, it's your girl Pat. I am the Chinese drama addict. Please subscribe, like and subscribe. Let me know if you like what I'm doing right here, and I will come back with more. Until next time, bye-bye.